So I think one of the great things about our partnership is that we have developed a really natural relationship, and that we feel that we can call each other and consult about different cases or different points of law or points of really any kind of discussion around special education, and that has really helped both of us to enhance our ability to serve families.
Yeah, I think it's been great. When we get calls through intake, our education intake worker is referring families to Parents Place a lot. We get lots of calls from families who really don't need lawyers, but they need information. Mm-hmm. They really benefit from the services that you offer. And likewise, I think you get cases sometimes where families do need legal services and you send them on to us. We've also gotten calls sometimes from staff members at Parents Place who are working with families but need some legal backup. And so we can provide that backup to you, which enables those families to get some legal assistance, but we can kind of expand the resources we have by working with your staff and not necessarily taking the cases and traveling hours and hours around the state. So it enables all of us to really expand the resources that we both have. We also work together on policy issues. Parents Place was one of the original 13 members of the Education Advocacy Coalition that I've been chairing since its inception, because nobody else will take it over. But we now have almost 30 members, and we are very involved with statewide policy issues. Parents Place has really been an integral member of that, and co-chaired it for a time. So, we look at every kind of issue that affects kids with disabilities, and I think we're really recognized as an entity. We've been written into legislation and commissions. We're part of task forces and work groups. So I think, in that capacity, we're constantly talking and working together.
I don't think anything else to say on that one.
Okay.
All right. What suggestions for groups just beginning? I think, again, one of the first places to start is developing that relationship, finding out what each organization does, how they work, how they prefer to receive referrals, that sort of thing. I think it's really important to work within those processes and procedures. And then look for commonalities. Where can we work together and collaborate and really just work off of what each other does best?
Yeah, I think, just getting to know staff, going to each other's offices, figuring out where are the gaps in service provision in the state and who's doing what. I think when we were applying for this, we were kind of feeling we have a neighbors over the back fence kind of relationship, and I think that's part of what makes our collaboration work so well. We were kind of struck by questions like, do you have formal memoranda of understanding? We don't have that kind of formality. I think things work well because we can pick up the phone and call each other, and we don't work through the executive directors. All of our staff know each other, and we all communicate with each other, and I think that's enabled our relationship to be strong. And if any issues come up, we talk them out. So I think that's it's the relationships, and I think those relationships have survived changes in staff over the years. Very, very long-standing, strong relationships.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead. As far as lessons learned, I think one of the things we were talking about is just the gaps that sometimes we have areas where we just both, we have our parameters of our grants and our funding, and we learn that there still is a need, despite the fact that you would think that we could cover most of the families, and just the restrictions of funding itself. We can only do so much with what we get.
Yeah, I think we've learned that you're a parent information training center. You're not an advocacy center, and I think we get calls from people who don't really need lawyers, But they need more than information and training. What they really need is somebody to go to an IEP meeting with them, and you're not necessarily going to be able to do that. So they need more, less than what we offer and more than what you offer. And right now, there's really not a lot of resources in Maryland for that. So I think one of the lessons we've learned, as I think everybody knows, is there just aren't enough resources for families whose kids have disabilities and are going through the special ed process. And I think, as budgets have retracted, as we've all faced, we've faced layoffs over the years and can serve fewer people, it just makes everything more difficult. And then we want to rely on you more, and you want to rely on us more, and it's just very challenging. So where are we headed? I think something we've talked about is, given the amount of work we do involving restraint and seclusion, which is something we've been focusing on for quite a while before it became nationally a huge issue, and given the number of consultations we've done with Parents Place about this, it would be great if we could collaborate on a handbook for families. That would really, because Maryland is one of the states that has regulations, thanks to the Education Advocacy Coalition and our work together. And how many parents actually don't know the regulations exist, even though they've been around for 10 years. It would be really nice to put together something really parent-oriented, because we know we don't get enough. We do a lot of trainings, but we don't get enough parents.
Absolutely, and together we can pretty much double or more the outreach that we do and the information that gets out to families.